Hi guys, MJ here, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. President Cyril Ramaphosa has received praise from the Indian delegation to the G20 Leaders Summit for organizing a successful and inclusive summit. This comes as the delegation led by the country's High Commissioner to South Africa, Prabhat Kumar Sudhakar Dalila, Secretary Economic Relations, Randhir Jaiswal, Ministry of External Affairs Me, and official spokesperson, and Shambhu Haki, India's G20 Sous Sherpa, briefed the media following Prime Minister Narendra Modi's presentation at the summit on Saturday evening. Earlier on Saturday, Modi presented India's official agenda at the G20 summit, where he laid down the countries for key priorities driving this year's G20 summit. During his address, two global leaders gathered at the Nasrec Conference and Expo Center. The Indian leader noted that prevailing economic models have deprived large populations of low-income countries of resources and driven the overexploitation of Africa's resources. He further revealed that he was encouraged that some historic decisions from the New Delhi G20 summit in 2023 have been carried forward through South Africa's G20 presidency. These include decisions on skilled migration, tourism, food security, AI, digital economy, innovation, and women's empowerment. He has now called for greater representation of the Global South in global governance structures. Reflecting on Modi's presentation, Dalila said India supports calls for enhanced disaster resilience and response, ensuring debt sustainability for low-income countries, harnessing critical minerals for sustainable economic growth, and mobilizing finance for a just energy transition, as presented by its Prime Minister in his address at the summit. Within the framework of the overarching theme of solidarity, equality, and sustainability, the G20 this year has delivered a strong message on four key priorities that were identified by the South African presidency, which included strengthening disaster resilience and response, taking action to ensure debt sustainability for low-income countries, harnessing critical minerals for sustainable economic growth, and mobilizing finance for just energy transition, he told members of the media in Sandton. On Saturday, President Cyril Ramaphosa greeted Modi with an namaste as the Indian leader arrived at the G20 summit before their meeting on Sunday at the sidelines of the last day of the summit. The meeting of the two statesmen formed part of the trilateral meeting with Brazilian leader Lula da Silva, where Ramaphosa affirmed the relevance of the 22-year-old trilateral bloc. The bloc, among other things, has been credited with establishing the Heads of State Leaders Network on Quality Foundational Learning and the IBSA Fund for Poverty and Hunger Alleviation. It has further committed itself to leading efforts to promote inclusive innovation and ensure the benefits of the digital age reach every corner of its various societies. Ramaphosa said the bloc has an opportunity to position itself as co-architects of a more representative and responsive multilateral system to end structural challenges, to ending inequalities between the rich and the poor. The structural fault in the global economy, the growing gap between the rich and the poor, and deepening poverty and underdevelopment can only effectively be addressed through a new paradigm of inclusive economic growth. Through initiatives like the IBSA Fund, we continue to demonstrate the practical value of our association, particularly in the assistance provided for those most in need, Ramaphosa stated. Modi, on the other hand, showed his appreciation for Ramaphosa's efforts in positioning the G20 summit, the first ever to be held on the African continent, as an inclusive affair. I had an excellent meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa during the G20 summit in Johannesburg. We reviewed the full range of the India-South Africa partnership, especially in boosting linkages of commerce, culture, investment, and diversifying cooperation in technology, skilling, AI, critical minerals, and more. Congratulated President Ramaphosa on South Africa's successful G20 presidency, he stated. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe till our next video. Cheers.